Hi, I'm Alison from Alison's Astrology, and I'm here today with my friend Terry Noodleman from Amethyst Astro Tarot. And we're starting a new podcast, a monthly podcast called The Sky Whisperers. And it's an overview of our monthly astrology to help you navigate through the month. So, Terry is an experienced astrologer and she's also a tarot reader and now currently almost a horary practitioner as well. So, has lots of expertise and I'm really excited to share this with her.
Yeah,
Thank
thank you
you,
very
Terry.
much. Yeah, thank you very much. And Alison, we are friends since from the our school time for astrology, and also she's a practicing astrologer, and she's very esteemed in what she's doing. Also, she is writing in lots of journals like astrological journal of the association, and also Stellar. So she has lots of contribution as a writer because she's a writer as well, in addition to her identity as an astrologer. So I'm also very excited and very happy to be with her here. I mean, we were already doing lots of collaborations before and since the beginning of the year, but we said that why don't we give a try for a podcast for the monthly forecasts about astrology. That's why we said Sky Whisperers, because sky and the planets always whisper things to us, and we could be the messengers that are bringing those messages to you, I think.
Yeah, thanks, Terry. That's great to share that. I'm going to share the screen and we'll just look at the month ahead. So
Yeah, of course.
here we are. Here's the month ahead, and we're starting at sort of 0 degrees of at midnight on June the 1st. Sorry, and we're starting with a fair amount of fixed modality. There's the Mars and the Moon together there in Leo, so self-expression and quite fixed and determined there. And then also some cardinal energy in Aries down here. Venus is in Aries. And we've got the mutable energy with Jupiter and Mercury and the Sun just here. So
We
it
have
can be
also Saturn
changeable.
in Aries.
Saturn
Saturn
in
in
Aries
Aries.
too.
Aries
Yeah.
as well. Yeah.
So, and the nodes also mutable signs. Here are the nodes. So we've got quite a lot of mutable, changeable, adaptable energy, and then also some fixed energy to kind of hold that solid, and the active cardinal energy is there as well. And what we don't really have is the earth energy, which is what we need to kind of ground things down into material reality. So we're starting the month really now with everything kind of up in the air a little bit, don't you think, Terry?
Yeah, exactly. Because when we look at the start of the month chart, which as we can see here is 1st of June is 00, but of course this is the chart, the cast for France. That's why we are not talking about the angles, because they could change according to the time zone. But when we look at the traditional planets in general, we see that we have more fire more dominant, and after that it's followed by air, but we don't really see any water or earth placements, which might mean that it's like these are active, or what they call also masculine planets. I mean, it's like there's more action, ideas, and like, trying to do things. But we don't have as Alison said, this grounding and the practicality that is coming through the earth signs. And also we have this maybe kind of missing the more emotional element coming through the water placements as well. So in that sense, I mean, maybe at the beginning of the month we have to push ourselves more to add our, I think, feelings, emotions, and also when we are doing things, I think we have to make sure that our feet really step on the ground well. We don't stay like floating in the air most of the time, I think. But things will change, right, through the month. hopefully.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think that's a really good point, actually, that there's a lot of pushing forward here and a lot of determination, a lot of kind of insight and inspiration. But we do have to really make an effort there to connect with our emotions and to work out how we're feeling, how other people are feeling as we sort of just come into this beginning of the month here. Yeah, but then on the 6th of June, and I can probably just move ahead here, Venus will move into Taurus, so that's pretty good. And Taurus is perhaps the most stable of stable signs. So that's an interesting shift. Hang on, I'm just showing you that there. There we are. Yeah, so this is an interesting shift. Venus moving into Taurus, which hasn't quite got there, and giving us that little bit of stability. And it's just still stability of our values. I don't know what happened there. Sorry. Stability of our values, stability of what we want, what we desire, actually. And maybe we're starting to desire now a bit more stability and just a little bit more clarity about things.
Yeah, it could be. I mean, like, yeah, that Venus in Taurus, at least, I mean, in a way, it's going back home because Venus is the traditional ruler of Taurus. So it would stay after the period that is it was in detriment, which they tell like it was in exile in Aries. Now it's like in terms of relationship, in terms of how we value things, and for I think for it can be for the artist, because there's art, aesthetics, and everything is included with Venus. We can come in another area of life. Of course, as they move sign, we move also areas of lives in our natal chart, and we can start like feeling like more stable, steady, and with in terms of relationships and in terms of our values. Of course, there could be in terms of values, there could be more material side as well. I mean, so that Venus in Taurus generally could give that feeling probably.
Yes, that's true. Taurus is obviously very involved in material security and just in instability of finances, stability of, they quite often Taurians like to nest, even if they go on holiday as well. They like to have a sort of stable place to come back to. But I think this will be good for people with Taurus and in their charts, strongly in their charts. If you've got a Taurus ascendant, or if you've got a Taurus sun or moon, then Venus into Taurus is normally a positive move, and you start to feel a little bit, don't want to say energized, but more just kind of a little bit more engaged, a bit more yourself, a little bit more involved with the world, if you like. I think it's just a really positive engagement. Yeah, for those of us with Taurus strong in our charts.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so I think Venus in Taurus could give, I mean, kind of nice energy, especially like it's going back home. So it will feel at least more comfortable where it is. I mean, like for that period of time. I think it will only move to Gemini in July. So
Yeah.
it will stay in Taurus through the month of June in any case. So after Venus moving into Taurus, we come to Mercury moving into Cancer, right? In the
Yeah,
8th.
exactly. Yeah, that's right. So Mercury moving into Cancer here. So Mercury, our planet of thought and communication. So it's about how we're thinking, how we communicate, and the way in which we think. That's what Mercury kind of is about. So if in Gemini it was, interested, sort of all over the place, sort of going to lots of different ideas, talking to lots of different people. When it moves into Cancer, we're coming back to the sense of belonging, to the sense of home and family, thinking about how we can perhaps preserve things a little bit more, because Cancer likes to nurture and preserve. And as it first of all just connects with Jupiter just here as it moves into Cancer, well, actually it connects with Jupiter, sorry about that, in Gemini. And we have done a whole podcast about that actually, with Jupiter moving into Cancer, going through the signs. So you will probably want to check that out. It's on my website and Teri's YouTube channel. But then once it comes into Cancer Mercury, yes, then there's this very kind of protective sense to it, I think, and creative. It's imaginative too.
Of course, I mean, like if we think that it's coming from an air sign, that is more about like also Gemini, it's like more about rationality, and there's also, of course, a social side, going and like I think there's a lot of mental stimulation. Like you enjoy the talks and then
Mm.
all those mental exchange with everyone that you can find because you can learn more. You can that they have more knowledge, etc. And that kind of thing. And after that, you are coming back home. I mean, in the
Mm-hmm.
sense that I mean, because Cancer is like family, home, the tribe. I think it's like you are maybe focusing your thoughts and then your thinking and then maybe your communication and everything more on your own family, on your own house. And also, of course, Mercury is about siblings, could be associated with siblings. Maybe it's a time that, yeah, that you maybe more in contact with your siblings if you have any, and then that could be a time of nurturing and taking care of and then trying to understand what you are thinking, and
Mm-hmm.
that you can share, and then you can get uh, feel that I mean there is a connection between each other. I mean, again, I mean, even there is, but that could be a more like a more emotional period in that sense, maybe with the Cancer.
Yeah, exactly. I think emotion is a good point. I think emotion, and it's really imaginative as well, Cancer. And as Jupiter moves into Cancer on the 9th, um, we're going to find meaning through the sense of belonging, meaning through imagination, and the idea of dreams as well. I think it always kind of draws me with Cancer because it's led by the moon, and the moon's over there in Sagittarius, so it's very much about dreaming of. I think some of it's about dreaming of freedom as well. There's a connection though between the moon and Jupiter as Jupiter moves into Cancer. There's what we call a mutual reception. So the two things, I think, a dream of freedom and still this connection to the family as well. But I think it's a very creative, nurturing a sort of ingress this with both Jupiter and Mercury in Cancer. And it's something we've been missing for a while, actually. I think this emotion since Mars left Cancer. And Mars doesn't really like being in Cancer. It can be a bit sort of snipey sometimes, or at least just a little bit overprotective. Um, but Jupiter does. It loves being in Cancer. It is about finding meaning there. So I think this is really nice, and it's going to be there for a while.
Yeah, it's going to be there until next year, towards the end of June, probably it would be
Mm.
staying there, if I'm not mistaken. There are too many dates to keep in mind. So it's like, uh, yeah, that June 9, yeah, the Jupiter will be moving into Cancer. So, I mean, Alison already talked about it, and as she mentioned, we already made a really nice recording about Jupiter in Cancer and its possible meaning in the 12th houses. So I think if you would like to have more information about Jupiter in Cancer, you can just please head to our YouTube channels and please watch that recording. And if you have any comments, we will be happy to hear about them as well. Having
Yeah,
said that, we jump from Jupiter in Cancer, probably like we don't spend much time on that, and we can head to maybe full moon in Sagittarius on the June 11th.
yeah, here we are. Here's the full moon in Sagittarius, and it's kind of on its own over there in the sky, really, isn't it? I think this is a really interesting chart, actually. And I do actually quite like this chart because we've got the full moon there and it's squaring the nodes. So it's a lot of mutable, changeable, adaptable energy again, busy energy. And there's this it's the opposition, the moon, Gemini and Sagittarius, between the community, the local community, and that the sort of siblings and cousins and everything, and then the further away and the long distance journeys and finding meaning in something that's that's further away and is more about faith and travel and those kinds of things. So it's an interesting sort of dichotomy there, and I think with the nodes there, it perhaps shows that that can be a little bit of a tension. You know, do I want to stay here or do I want to go over there? And I think a lot of people maybe are feeling this tension. Where do I really want to be? You know, when governments change in places, start to think, do I want to be in this country? You know, full moon's about making a decision, though, I think as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. I mean, also there's a nice, I think, fire trine there with the
True.
Chiron, Mars, and the Moon that is within there. If I'm not mistaken, if I'm seeing, yeah, I think I'm seeing it right.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, the full moon is at the end of the day. I mean, like we always have to look at this. I mean, like there are these two opposing sides. I mean, like yeah, that there is this more uh, rational, curious, etc. Like there is this conscious part, the identity, etc. And there is this part, that the inner part, subconscious, that is moon in Sagittarius, that wants to explore, that wants to break free, but it wants to also find the truth. But it's like maybe they want to both learn, but I think Gemini is more on the rational side. I mean, that doesn't want to go, but that the Sagittarius is there is a lot of philosophy. There's a lot of different type of wisdom that is going through that. So in a way, they are like, it's like, where do I go? But I think that the full moon is could be about like that areas of lives we try to make maybe compromise a bit on both sides, and try to find that middle way so that we can continue the rest of the journey, because full moon is like from new moon to full moon, that's the halfway, and then full moon to the other new moon is the other halfway. So how do I want to, I mean, pass the other halfway? I came here, what happened, what did I do, what should I bring with myself to the rest of the journey, and what should I leave behind at the end of the day, and what is achieved? So there are lots of questions to be asked. Like it's very like, Gemini and Mercury, everything going on, but it's like there are lots of things to be asked, and then we have to, I mean, continue the rest of the journey in a way with all the answers that we have in hand, and try to find a balance in a way, to middle way between these two opposing energies in our lives.
I think that's really, really nice way of putting it, actually, with the yes, I like that. And I also think that with Jupiter there in Cancer at the same time, sort of just coming up to that square with Saturn, here we are. So these are also involved a little bit in this full moon. And Mercury is making a lovely sextile to Venus in Taurus. So there is kind of this wanting stability, if you like, or wanting a sense of belonging in this at the same time as, you know, Aries is being dynamic and going off and doing something else. So there is tension here, as well as the sort of Mars trine, the fire trine, which is expressive, really, and is like, yes, but I need to be creative, I need to do this. And I do think that if you have planets or angles between 18 and around 24 of those mutable signs, that's, I did make a list, Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces, then you will really feel the impact of this moon, actually, because you know, it's very much, when it's squaring the nodes like that, it's very much a crossroads. It's shown as a crossroads in the chart. It's a decision time. What are you going to take with you? That's the question. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, after June 11, that's the full moon in Sagittarius.
Hmm.
What do we have? What do we have? It's like we
So
have the list.
yeah, so then we moving on to the Jupiter Saturn square, that perfects, doesn't it, on the 15th, I
Yes,
think.
exactly, exactly. That's the, I mean, last
Sorry.
square after the December 2020 conjunction between the Jupiter and Saturn in the zero Aquarius, and now it would be, I think, in the first degrees of, yeah, that's the chart. Okay, I mean, like the first degree of Cancer and the
Aries, yeah.
Aries for in that sense, and after that the way to the trine comes across for us, which will happen, I think, in 2029 December
That's the opposition
22nd.
theory. the opposition.
Opposition. That's true. That's the opposition. Then,
The
yeah, we are
trines
going.
next summer.
Uh, Next summer. Yeah. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That was the opposition because we were talking about it. That my mind just went like, there is something in December. Okay. That's true. I mean, that's the opposition. The trine we will have it like right away next summer. So I think it's I think last, uh, in a way, a bit conflicting, and that kind of like that kind of tension between the Jupiter and
Yes.
Saturn. Is like, it's like when I'm even telling that, it's like you can see that also now it's in cardinal signs. It's like everyone is trying to go ahead in that sense. I mean, Jupiter in Cancer, it's in exalted, and Saturn in Aries, it's in fall, etc. And there is this kind of a like which one, etc. And there is this kind of tension, I think, and this kind of maybe conflict we will be feeling, where Aries and Cancer in our charts, in a way, especially if they are in contact with our natal charts. But after this, I think this kind of like, I want to improve, go ahead. No, we have to limit, we have to put a order, and it's like I want something new. No, let's continue with the traditional way, etc. This kind of tension, conflict,
Yeah.
I think will start easing out, and they
After
will
that.
start,
Yeah.
yeah, after that, after this last square, I think that will start easing out. And this is the last one. I think there had been already, we had the two exact, I think, squares before this. This is the
Hmm.
last match, in a way, between Jupiter and Saturn. And after
Yeah.
that, the things will ease out, and maybe next summer we can have that more harmonious,
Mm.
amicable energy between these two social planets, in a way.
And it's exacerbated as well, actually, because not only have we got the tension between you know, as you were saying, the kind of wanting to hold on and preserve, and that wanting to push forward with Aries, because they're both cardinal signs, but they're kind of aiming for different things, aren't they? Sort of both clinging to their own kind of places, if you like. But we've also got the challenge from Mars there to Uranus at the same time, across those fixed signs, perfecting pretty much on the same day. So, I mean, that could bring surprises. It could bring fireworks, to be honest, because Mars in Leo like that is all about kind of expressing themselves in quite a loud and vocal way, to be honest. And there you've got the two other planets kind of hanging on and trying to balance themselves. So I think it's
Sometimes I'm thinking, yeah, I was thinking, sorry, I cut your word, that when you were talking about Mars and Uranus, of course, I mean, that's of course conflicting energy, but it's like, since it's like sudden thing, I'm all the time thinking like it's like fireworks, but it's something like it could be a breakthrough in some senses, because I mean, it's
okay.
like an energy going like this, boom, and then after that it's like as if there's a showcase. I mean, that could
Yeah,
be a
okay.
quite important change, and etc. And then there is something like kind of breakthrough that could come through. Of course, as you said, it could be. I mean, all the aspects and the patterns, etc. We see, they have all can go south or north. I mean, like it depends. I mean, it's like how they also contact with our natal charts and etc. where we are. But it could be like fireworks in a less negative way, and fireworks in a much positive way as well. I mean, like we there could be a
That's true.
breakthrough as well.
Yes. Yeah, yeah, that's true. That's a good point. I think we need to just skip quickly to Jupiter Neptune, which is a couple of days later. That square, which is about sort of meaning, dreams, ideals, things like that. Uh, the same kind of energy, probably. Well, it's a different kind of energy from Jupiter and Saturn, but because Saturn and Neptune are together there, there is kind of some of that element of pushing forward and but then with Neptune, there's a dissolution. There's like, well, what was I pushing against? Whereas at least with Saturn, you really know what you're pushing against. So I think the challenge is to bring the dreams together really there. and to
Yeah,
try.
it's like, I mean, yeah, that I think the conflict could be more like, I mean, like you have certain ideals, etc., that could be about yourself, etc., that you want to really achieve, you want to really, I mean, take the lead about them with the Neptune in Aries, but with the
Hmm.
Jupiter in Cancer, I think there is, since we are talking about, you may, I mean, it's cardinal sign, you will be still pushing forward, but it's like there is this also water element there, emotional element there. There is this home, the family, the tribe, the past, and everything. So you want to also improve something, that about the meanings about your life and the beliefs and whatever. I mean, like you try to improve something, but they cannot be, because one is more individual, one is more about me and my family, me and the people that I care about, me and my tribe. I mean, so it's like very individualistic and more tribal kind of things, that is going forward. So in that sense, I think the biggest maybe conflict could be coming through that, with the Jupiter Neptune square. I think so. I mean, I believe so.
Yeah, I think that's a good point. And it could also be a conflict, of course, about starting a family, couldn't it? Something like that, because Jupiter obviously is very nurturing, wants to be in that family space. But Neptune is about the ideal, about the self as well, and what do I want for me? So yeah, the challenges there, I think, are really descriptive in that Jupiter Neptune square there. Good point.
And and finally, maybe we can stay in this chart because
Mhm.
that
Oh, sorry.
yeah, or if you want to go back for the Mars in Virgo for
Mars in
17.
Virgo. Oh, for the
Yeah,
17th. Sorry, yes,
yeah.
that's a good point. Yeah, we need to skip on really, but we can just quickly, yeah. Oh, go to Mars in Virgo. There we are. Yes.
Mars.
So at this point, we get a little bit more earth into the chart. So a little bit more grounded energy. Virgo's very practical, very helpful, very skillful, very discerning, aren't they, Terry? And so it will work hard. Virgo will work hard if it's given a job to do. Mars in Virgo likes to be occupied. So this is a time really for, I feel, really addressing practical problems and getting on with them now.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, like, I think it's also, I think it's after that long journey because of the retrograde period since December 6th,
Mm.
I think 2024. It's like back and forth, Leo, Cancer, etc. In the end, it's like finally Virgo is, I'm here. You can use my skills. I mean, practical
Yes,
skills, etc.
yes,
And then we can use like that kind of barrier, a kind of energy inside us to make things done. I mean,
yes,
right?
yes, to
It's
get
like
things done, definitely. Yeah.
yeah,
And it's
so
not, it doesn't need the recognition either, does it, like Mars in Leo? It's quite happy just to get things done in the background and make a good job of them. And that's the role really of a lot of planets in Virgo. It doesn't necessarily need all the acclaim. It can be pretty modest, actually, Virgo. Yeah, very nice people to have around.
yeah, thank you.
Let me just skip to the solstice chart. I'm going to move that now. So
Okay,
here,
okay.
here we have the solstice chart. So on the 21st, of course, the sun moves into Cancer and we have the summer solstice. So this is one of the marking points of the year, one of the cardinal points. We have the 0 point of Aries, the 0 point of Cancer, and then we have Libra and Capricorn. So um, equinoxes and solstices. So here we are, and as it moves into Cancer, interestingly, the moon is at 0 degrees of Taurus. So that's lovely. It's applying to a lovely trine to Mars. So that's quite a nice part of the chart there, actually. In fact, it's a lovely chart altogether, really, because we've got the sun applying to Jupiter as well. So optimistic um, chart, I think. What does that say to you, Terry? How do you feel about that chart?
I think it's nice. Moon in I think then it means that in the last few days of the Gemini, like moon in Aries, it would be like more like it's like too much energy, and sometimes it's
Definitely.
like, too much haste and everything, etc., impatience, etc., and then it's like it comes to when the solstice happens, and then moon is like, in the exalted part, it's like, wow, slow down, like, let's relax, and let's get focused on our rituals a bit. I mean, the daily routine plus the rituals, and then, yeah, like, let's slow down. And then actually, I mean, like, maybe let's also kind of connect with the nature so that we can feel more grounded in a way. That kind of thing that is coming with the summer solstice, I think it's really nice. And also, yeah, as you said, I mean, like, sun that is applying to the conjunction of the Jupiter is also nice. I mean, I wouldn't use like, oh, there is luck, etc., like this, but it could be about, I mean, kind of abundance at home. It could give
Good.
more optimism. It
Yeah.
could give more like also some kind of I mean, about our faith and everything, and they all come together. I think it feels like a meditation stage or something like that. No, you are seeing, you are at home, like grounded, etc., as if like you are in front of your garden, and then like sitting on the grass, etc., and then it's just like, um, I think, enjoying the whatever the nature brings you in a way, and the life. I mean, it feels like
So
an
we've got
energy
that.
like that.
Yeah. No, I think so too. We've got this sort of what we call a mini grand trine here as well, these nice aspects. So
Yeah,
yes, I think all that's entirely possible. I mean there are other things. We have this awkward yod here with Pluto and Mars. So there's possibly stuff going on in the background, but I think the solar energy, the heart of the chart is with Jupiter. I mean, and this is carrying on this energy until the equinox in Libra. And it's a positive chart, really, with those two things together. And the moon in Taurus also exalted, ruling, because it rules Cancer, those two planets. I think I think there's grounds here for optimism and a sense of stability, a sense of getting things done over this period, the summer period. Yeah, and of actually hopefully enjoying it as well. Yeah, I
yeah,
think it's a
exactly.
nice chart. Yeah.
It is. It is. After this, where do we go? To the new moon in Cancer, I think, in the
Yeah.
25th of June. We will have a new moon in Cancer, which would be around 4 degrees. So that's more for the, I think, start of the cardinal placements that could have some kind of meaning. Again, Jupiter is like tailing the sun
Yes.
and
So
moon as well there. And in this chart, it's nice in the 10th house. It's like it's like kind of recognition, all right, kind of, I'm here. I mean, like, it's like showing yourself to the society in a way. No, all the sun, moon, all the luminaries there. It's really nice. I mean,
in
the
the 10th, yeah, this is obviously in France where I am, so it won't be in the 10th house.
yeah, of course.
But yes, I mean definitely. And if you do have planets around those 4 degrees, 5, 6, 3, 4, 5, 6 of their cardinal signs, and the cardinal signs we have Aries, Aries, Cancer, Libra, and Capricorn. So anything there angles planets. This new moon is just lovely actually. This new moon with Jupiter, really interesting. And then there's the lovely sextile it's making to Mars as well. And that's the first aspect that the moon will make is the sextile to Mars. So I think there's a lot of positivity again in this chart, sort of carrying on from the last one. Although we do have Pluto over here, just kind of being miserable over in the background, sort of waiting to create problems. But we'll ignore that for a minute and just look at the positivity of that lovely new moon in Cancer with the the practicality of Mars and of Venus as well. It's really, really nice, actually. Focused on family, focused on home, also quite self-protective, but also in Cancer, it's important not to forget that it is a cardinal sign. Elon Musk is a Cancer. I mean, he's not short of being able to do stuff, you know, he knows how to go out and get things done, but does it in a very, I don't want to say touchy-feely way because it's not that, but he must have a sense of emotional sensitivity that enables him to understand how to go about things and to win, essentially. That's Musk anyway. But there is an emotional sense to this chart and a creative one as well. I mean, there's nothing more creative than Cancer, really. It's all about making things. I mean, in some ways, it's about making, you know, making family, making tribe, and it doesn't have to be in a physical sense either.
No,
Although
no,
it
it
could
can
be
be. I mean,
without
like
Mars and Virgo. It could be about
it's like,
creating tribe out of
yeah,
a group of people.
yeah, it can be. I mean, like if you think that if you think this kind of the stellium in the 11th
Mm,
house, you can be creating your own community. Maybe it will be a
absolutely.
start. I mean, like with all those
Definitely.
emotional connections, etc. You can be starting. I mean, it's like at the end of the day, it's a new moon is like the is like planting new seeds, right? We are
Yes.
starting something new. It could be a fresh start, or it could be you are ending things and you have to move on and
Mhm.
make another kind of open another chapter in your life. And that we have to do it in a Cancerian way. It's a nurturing way. It's a more emotional way, in a more sensitive way, and also we have to do it also in a cardinal way. So we shouldn't, I mean, like I think to have it completely done, I mean, like maybe um, going to the sideways couldn't be. You have to move forward. I mean, the crab needs to move forward. And
Forward in a sideways
where
action.
yeah, when does it happen? I mean, they generally, when they get very protective about the things, I mean, the people and the, I mean, everything that they value and that they love, they are attached to. So I mean, it's like the time maybe to move forward and get all that cardinal energy, putting our feelings and create our own maybe community, tribe, or whatever in a certain area of our lives.
Yeah, I think that's lovely. And we need to wrap up in a minute. So let's just have a quick look at Mercury going into Leo before we finish.
Yeah,
Here
and
we are. And towards the end of the month, zoom, zoom, zoom.
June 26th, it goes
26, sorry.
to,
Too far.
yeah, Mercury goes into Leo. That
No,
could
it's
be
still in
like
Capricorn.
a shine with your thoughts, shine
Yeah.
with your
And
ideas. It's
immediately
like
the moon joins them together. So that's the moon who's coming out of that new moon and conjoining with Mercury, who's now just moved into Leo. So yeah, that's about recognition, you know, definitely shining. Here we
yeah,
are.
it's creative ideas, all like whatever, I mean, whatever you have authentic, come bring it to the front, and then we want to see it, show it. I mean, I mean, it's another showcase. I mean, like perform. It's time to perform whatever
Definitely.
you.
And look, it's making this fantastic aspect to Saturn and Neptune. So there's the potential for making something real at this point, I think. And
Yeah,
Mars is in the mix with the Sun as well, another lovely creative aspect. So I think this is also actually a really lovely element to end the month on as well. There's Venus is making that super trine to the nodes too. So I think all in all, actually, there's a lot of creative potential in June. I think I'm going to stop the share now, actually, and we can just wrap up just us.
yeah, it's like, I mean, it is true. I mean, like only end of June 30 there would be the Mercury pre-shadow period will start. I mean, for the retrograde period,
Oh, yeah, the retrograde bit.
for the ones who miss Mercury retrograde, I call it legendary Mercury retrograde. Like
Yeah,
we,
yeah.
that would be all in Leo, but the stationing for stationing retrograde will start only in July 18th. So you can be a bit like, it's like the, that we're getting used to the idea of. But in the sky, at least, I mean, except Pluto, we don't have any retrogression at the moment. I mean, in June, towards the, I mean, throughout the June. So that's also good. Everything is like going how they are on their own pace, on their own way, all the planets in that sense. So full expression in a way that we can say
Yeah,
about
yeah,
that.
I think so.
Yeah, so I mean, and as we said, I mean, like starting from the month, all this fire air dominance will wear out in a way, and there would be more balance in the terms of elements, and then like everything uh, from, I mean, action, thoughts, emotions, and then practicality, they will start getting all together and in a balanced way. And it is also nice, and getting all this earth and later the water energy until the mid of June. And in general, I mean, like, except the conflicting energies, I think that we have talked about between Jupiter and Saturn, Jupiter and Neptune, which are the planetary cycles. I think generally there is something positive, right? What do you say?
There is. The only thing that worries me a little bit is Pluto sitting over there like a kind of a bad fairy, making those nasty quincunxes to everything. But anyway, I mean, there's other stuff always going on in the background. Pluto's a much more general kind of planet, which is about the world really, and of course it impacts us as well. But it's not a personal planet, so it's kind of a background to everything else that we're doing.
And also it's
Hey,
retrograde,
it is
so it's like
retrograde, so not quite
yeah,
as
so
powerful.
yeah, exactly. So it's not like full power,
No,
more
that's
like the reflection period, etc. So I mean, like, whatever transformation, whatever, I mean, like, kind of change that is behind it, I think wouldn't be that impactful as it's during a direct period. So I think that could
that's
be
great.
maybe, yeah,
So we
like
should
this. I mean,
we should stop there, Terry, and wrap up there and say thank you very much for listening. I mean, do check out the rest of our channels, and we hope you'll join us again next month. So
yeah, yeah. Thank you
bye
for
from me.
listening, and hopefully see you next month. Bye
Yeah.
bye.
See you
Bye.
next month. Bye bye.